Hi everyone, it's Agnes and welcome to another interview. Today it's with Jason. Jason, hello.
Hello. How are
Well,
we?
good. How are you?
Good. I'm marvelous.
Excellent. Welcome for part 2.
Part 2 indeed.
Yes, for those of you that did actually watch the Men's Valentine series, Jason was actually in that series and I've asked him to come back because there was so many other things I wanted to talk to him about, because he's got such a wealth of knowledge and he's going to share lots of really good things with you today. The topic for this YouTube is beliefs. So, Jason, I'm going to hand it over to you. What do you think is really helpful about changing beliefs that keep us stuck?
Okay, so what I would say is first of all, what is a belief? A belief, I would say, and I use this a lot, is a belief is something we believing which isn't necessarily true. So we have this belief, but where did it come from? Generally, experiences in our life, and if it's a traumatic experience especially, we tend to repeat that as a memory. That becomes habitual. That habitual memory then becomes a perception. Once it becomes a perception, that's then our belief. So I kind of give you an example. You may see somebody with, let's say, blonde hair. And this blonde-haired person may have done something to upset you in life, might have been another girl at school or something that kind of bullied you or whatever the case is. So your schemas in your brain, your kind of where you pigeonhole things and where you actually, have a stereotypical perception now is related to girls with blonde hair. So as you go through your adult life, you may take an instant sort of, you may be reserved towards girls with blonde hair because this was a traumatic experience that you had ages ago. So your belief is girls with blonde hair are a type of person. And I just use blonde hair. Could have been brown, could have been whatever color. But, so you've got this belief. But actually, when you meet some other girls with blonde hair and you actually speak to them because you have to, you're in a working environment, and then you go, oh my God, you're really nice. I thought you were, but sometimes we don't realize that we've actually got that hidden belief as well in our brain. It's programmed as a schema in the brain for you to have a perception because it's fight or flight. Are they friend or foe? And, our brain subconsciously wants to work that out. So with these beliefs, you can see that one detrimental belief, you've now kind of termed everybody as an example. So if that's just one example of a belief you have, then you have other beliefs. And these beliefs seep in through friends, family. And one of the things I would say is when you get information or advice from anybody, it's check the source. Now, what I mean by that is when someone's giving you some information, you should do this, you shouldn't do that, etc. You need to think, right, okay, because a lot of people like to tell you what you can't do instead of what you can do. You come out with a great idea, you want to go forward with this idea, you're excited with this idea, and all of a sudden you get somebody going, well, this may happen, that may happen, and all of a sudden they're either an energy vampire or a dream stealer. And it could dampen your spirits down. And then that could create a belief, which is a limited belief. But then you've got to think, right, who is this person that's giving me this advice or information on how I can't do it? And then check that person out first of all and see, right, what have they done? What have they achieved? What do they want out of life? Have they got a passion in life? Test that first of all before you run off with, creating another, what is a limited belief. So these limited beliefs as well, they can really hamper you and put a ceiling on your progression. So what I do with my clients is I challenge, kind of challenge the words they use, maybe use a bit of CBT on challenging, where did you get this belief from?
Can you explain for people that don't know what a CBT is?
Okay, so CBT is cognitive behavioral therapy. So cognition, so how you think, behavior, how you act and how you behave. And that kind of therapy challenges the words you use, as does NLP, neuro-linguistic programming.
Yep.
how you talk to yourself, and what generalizations and words you use. So just for the listeners, to give them some background. So my degree's in psychology, but I've also studied and have qualifications in NLP, neuro-linguistic programming,
Yep.
in hypnotherapy, in psychotherapy, personal training and nutrition as a mind-body connection, and Reiki. I'm a Reiki practitioner as well, so I cover the spiritual sides of things and also the meditation side of things. And I find this holistic approach, especially to beliefs and limiting beliefs, really nicely breaks all of those disciplines, break beliefs and limiting beliefs down. So if you look at the psychological application of a belief, in psychology, they talk about maladaptive thoughts and erroneous beliefs. So maladaptive thoughts, like mala being the Latin for incorrect, and adaptive, the adaptation of that incorrect thought, sends people off on very negative mental processes, as does the erroneous belief. And an erroneous belief is what I kind of explained earlier, which is a belief based on something that isn't necessarily true, but resulted as a traumatic experience. So, and then you look at NLP, let's say, neuro-linguistic programming, to which I'm a practitioner of, and they are heavily into breaking through limiting beliefs. And a limiting belief is, right, you've got a goal, but you'll never make it. No, I'll never make it because of this. I'll never make it because, you know, I just know I won't make it. And generally you say, well, who's told you that? Oh, everybody tells me that. Okay, can you name everybody? Well, actually, when did it happen? Give me some sort of clue as to when you think something happened to you to create this limiting belief. Well, it was when I was at school and I went to go on stage and I forgot my words and I was ridiculed. The crowd were like waiting and I froze. So there's no way I can do public speaking. There's no way I can go on stage. Okay. So what actually happened then was one instance, you had a traumatic experience way back in school, and now as an adult, you feel you can't speak in public.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. And then you go through, obviously, an exercise in which we overcome that limiting belief. We challenge, are you still that same child that you were? Have you gone through the working world communicating with people one-on-one? Well, yes, I have. Have you been at a party where you spoke to more than one person? Well, yes, I have. Okay. So we're just going to get you to speak to a few more.
Yeah.
Right. And then take them through some more exercises.
Lovely.
Now,
that's stretching it slowly, isn't it?
Stretching it slowly, but finding the cause.
Finding the
cause and effect. Cause and effect. This is what's happening. Now, also, I studied. So I'm a hypnotherapist as well.
Can I stop you for a second?
Yeah.
There's so many things I want to ask you, but okay. A lot of the viewers on the channel have the belief.
Yes.
I'm not good enough, and I'm second best, and I'm not loved.
Like it. Okay.
Okay. So if that goes back to events from childhood, how would you say, from what you've described, you would unravel that?
Right. So first of all, we can go back. You go through a mental timeline into regression to really find out what was the cause.
Yeah.
And sometimes people's timeline runs through them from front to back. Okay. So if they go backwards, they feel like they're going back in time. Yeah. Some people's timeline goes from one side to the next. So when you go to the left, you go back in time. And when you go right, you go forward in time.
Okay.
And it's amazing. When they do this physical movement, they feel, I'm here. They're actually at the point. So we go through. Now tell me the context. What's going on? What's happening?
Yeah.
And there's a quote which is, a man will not step in the same river twice. And the reason for that is the river's constantly flowing. The person gets older. You cannot step back in time and recreate that second time. You can't recreate it, but people do. They get to that point where they've still got the same beliefs and they're replicating. They're trying to replicate, but they're not the same person and it's not the same time.
Yeah.
But you need to realize that. So regards to, you know, relationships, and I'm attracting this sort of person, or I'm this sort of person, this always happens to me.
Yeah.
That's what, so we have two great psychiatrists. We have Sigmund Freud and we have Alfred Adler. Now, Sigmund Freud will say that we have a traumatic event, which is like a dot in life in that time.
Yeah.
And what we do is we drag that through the rest of our life.
Yeah.
Taking all that misery, all that traumatic experience, and we seem to drag it with us. And we then have that perception. Remember, I said a traumatic event becomes habitual, becomes a perception.
Yeah.
Now they're living with the same perception of relationships or partners going through the rest of their life.
Yeah.
And what they also do is they get other dots. They might have other traumatic experiences or not great relationships. And this dot gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And they're drawing this through their life.
Yeah.
Now, the nice thing about the psychiatrist Alfred Adler is he said, no, we do have traumatic events in our life, but we have one dot. Leave the dot where it is. Then go on through your life. You may get another dot, but that's a different dot. It's not the same one. Don't collect these things. Leave the dots in the past.
Okay.
Because what will happen is, if say, you know, a female meets a guy and he's ideal, the next thing you know, the perception is, well, what did Dave do? What did Adam do? What did Paul do? What did Steve do? And this poor guy is getting all these perceptions in the first instance of meeting. And and obviously it runs reverse. Guys with females as well. Yeah. It works both ways. And then the relationship's polluted by all these, you know, limiting beliefs, these perceptions.
Yeah.
But actually, don't join the dots up. Don't drag one into another and bring massive issues. Just see them as they are in the time they were, and recognize that, and take each kind of dot as they come, as it were.
So which way do you think is, no, having studied both of these people, which one do you lean towards?
Oh, definitely Adler.
Okay.
Because everybody, there's what they call in psychology a heterogeneity of an individual. Yeah. Which means we are as individual as our fingerprint. Yeah. So therefore, each individual must be judged as an individual. Yes. You know, not as the person that you've met before or the person that you've met before that. You need to give, you know, merit to the person that you've just met. And what I say is there was like this sort of gangster rap film, and the one guy said it was Gangster's Paradise, where this teacher went to this rough school and said, everybody, you've all got an A. And they were like, oh my God, this is the first time I've ever got an A. Yeah, but you can easily drop to a fail if you don't keep your A. And I think if you can meet people on sort of that carte blanche sort of approach of, you know what, I really like this person, I'm going to give them an A. Now, if they drop in grades rapidly, then they're going to end up with a lower, end up with a fail, and you leave the relationship, you know? Yeah, yeah. Because it wasn't what you thought it was. But at least give, you know, people an opportunity based on a new situation. Don't drag all the dots with you. Yeah.
But Jason, I think I like the theory of that, but I can tell you most of my work comes from people that drag the dots into the present.
Yeah, of course. No, that's what most people do. Yeah. No, it's an awareness, and I think it's an enlightening. It is. You know, that there is a psychiatrist out there who was equivalent to Sigmund Freud, because obviously he's one of the most popular of psychiatrists. Yeah. To actually find this guy, to actually go, no, you know what? That actually makes sense. Yes. And again, although it's common sense isn't common.
Mm.
So yeah, I would say most people
Yeah.
definitely do that.
Yeah.
So if you cannot drag all those dots through and accumulate a massive dot, taking it into the new relationship,
Yeah.
then I think you'll give your new relationship a lot more chance.
Mm. Do you see a high success rate of people that don't drag the dots into the new relationship?
Well, I think it's an understanding. I
Yeah.
think it's definitely, with people who have had that enlightening, that eureka moment of, oh
Yeah.
my God, like you just said, I
Yeah.
so do that.
Yeah, I so do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
First, it's awareness, then it's
Uh,
acknowledging it.
yeah,
Thirdly, it's stopping doing it.
that's right. And then
Yeah.
applying the new mindset
Yeah.
to any new relationship. Or if you've just met somebody and you go, I've really been doing that.
Yeah.
I have been doing that. Well,
Yeah.
I need to stop.
Mm.
Because I have thought he was like so and so and so and so and so
Mm.
and so, and it's kind of unfair because that's how I'm thinking.
Yes.
And the new person's confused because they don't know why. You will emit a frequency
Yeah.
from any negativity,
Yes.
or any, if you're reserved, or if you're
Mm.
not fully telling the truth, or you're not fully committing, or you're not letting
Yeah.
your true emotions show because
Mm.
you feel vulnerable and you want
Yeah.
to be protected, and
Mm.
then you're defensive,
Yeah.
and then you're not communicating. Yes, the other person will pick up on the vibe.
Mm.
Yeah,
Mm.
they
Yeah.
will. And sometimes you won't, unless you have that awareness, you probably won't even know you're doing it.
Yeah. See, I find I've got people that understand it. They've got
Mm-hmm.
awareness of it, but they
Yeah.
can't stop it. They're stuck on the third thing.
Yeah.
And that's where the beliefs come in, and the repetitive habitual
Exactly.
negative thinking about
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
So then that needs challenging.
Yeah.
So it is a case of, okay, well, the new person you've met, have they shown signs of doing what you've experienced in the past?
Mm.
Well, no, I've kind of just met them. Okay, well, that's fair enough, so they haven't shown signs of that. Okay.
Yeah.
If they do show signs of things that you don't like, what will you now do? And again, that comes, to self-love, self-esteem, and self-belief.
Yeah.
And you just say, you know what? That's something that I don't like. It's
Yeah.
something that I don't quite accept.
Yeah.
I'm not judging you, but I experienced that in my past relationship, and
Mm.
it's not something I want to move forward with in this relationship.
Yeah.
The thing is, it could be something really small.
Yeah.
But because it was such a big thing back then, you don't want it to happen. You can just explain. Communication is key. And that person, then got a choice and say, you know what? Yeah, I didn't even know that upset you.
Yes.
Because it might just be normal to them.
Exactly.
But, it might be something like leaving, you just moved in with them and they're leaving clothes hanging around, or, socks on the floor or whatever, which beforehand was a massive deal because the other person was really lazy.
Yeah.
And they felt that, you felt like you were their slave.
Yeah.
And you were there to clear up for them and look after them.
Mm.
So it's a big deal.
Yeah.
Whereas
and you interpret it as, you don't respect me.
That's right. Exactly. That's the ultimate drill down, isn't it?
Yeah.
You don't respect me.
It might not be that at all.
No. And I mean, well, if I take you back into the psychology and the psychiatry world, there was a bunch of German psychiatrists back in the 1960s, and they're called Gestalts.
Yeah.
And what the Gestalts, they had a great example of, we have surface issues, which are like Christmas tree light.
Yeah.
But with the old Christmas tree lights, there was a bunch load of problems in bulbs going on out of sight. So you try and address this bulb here to fix the problem. Or the other person would just think it was a small problem. But what you're dealing with is all this history, all these other light bulbs that have gone off.
Yeah.
So you're giving them all these problems here in this one small problem. The other person's kind of, sorry, I left a sock on the floor.
Yeah.
It's one sock.
Yeah.
It fell out the laundry when I was putting all the stuff back.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, don't start with, don't think I'm going to clean up after you. I'm not your slave. You don't respect me and all the rest of it. And the person's going, really? It's one sock.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you can see how, and that's where the communication comes in. And the
Yeah.
communication is, right, I've got to tell you, the last person I was with thought I was their slave. They left everything everywhere. And then the person can go, honestly, it was really just one soul. Of course, I love you. I respect you. And I'd never expect you to have to do all that for me. It literally just fell out the basket.
Yeah.
But you can see how these things can escalate.
Yep.
Yeah. And I mean, that's just an example, but
that's a good example, because it is a big thing in relationships, one person doing too much and the other person, that's not an uncommon situation.
No. But with the new person, it could just be an innocent mistake.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they really didn't, that wasn't their intention. It just happened.
Yeah. Nice one. That's a good example. Good example.
There's so I was coming back to when so I did my hypnotherapy training, and how that can help with limiting beliefs and beliefs also.
Yeah.
And there's a difference between hypnotherapy and hypnosis. Hypnosis is the cut like a chicken and all the rest of it, and people do silly things. But then there's hypnotherapy, which is you get somebody to relax, you put them in a trance, but a trance which is between asleep and awake. So it's very relaxed. You're still compos mentis.
Yeah.
And the idea of the hypnotherapy treatment is someone may or may not tell you their issue, and then you talk through solutions. You say certain words, you give them in a relaxed state, and then you deposit all these kind of suggestions in the subconscious for them to enable them to move forward. So there's hypnotherapy for people who want to quit smoking, or there's even, pregnancy, births with under hypnosis, hypnotherapy as well. That's a lot of empirical evidence now within psychology to say that support and suggest it works. So it's a big, big thing. But if you want to overcome beliefs, hypnotherapy is a great way of, again, channeling your subconscious in order for you to overcome these limiting beliefs.
Lovely.
So that's kind of another way.
Can I ask you before you go on, Jason? Do you think all beliefs can be changed?
Yeah, I mean, because a belief is something you believe in that isn't necessarily true.
Yeah.
So these beliefs, they're not innate.
Yeah.
These beliefs are, they're put on us externally. Because if you think of any belief that you have, it would be external data input.
From someone else.
Yeah, from someone else, from TV, from social media. Yeah. These beliefs on, it has to be like this. It has to be like that. I mean, you can always challenge your beliefs. And then, because the thing is, there's so many people on the planet, you can't say one race or one type of person is like this.
Yeah. Because
you need to interview all of them.
Yeah.
To find out if they are.
Yes.
I just got the screen thing. So unless you've interviewed everybody, you don't know everybody's like that.
No, that's true. That's true. You can't generalize.
Pretty much like our example with the blonde girl.
Yes.
Yeah, the blonde girl at school might have been a bully, but that doesn't make all blonde women bullies.
No, that's right. Maybe that blonde woman a bully, but doesn't mean they're all like that. Exactly right. And the thing is, you associated the bullying with the hair color. That's what's interesting. You didn't associate it with the eye color, with the height, with the width of the person, with
it could be any one of those. Yeah.
You associated it purely with the hair color in that example, which is it's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So you can see how this information's going in.
Yeah.
Now, what was interesting is the body connection as well to the mind. So we've got the health and fitness.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, my speciality, so I appeared on a TV documentary, Sky One, called A Year to Save My Life.
Yeah.
Where I trained a 35-stone man over a period of 12 months in order for him to lose weight, because at that kind of weight, it's very detrimental to his health.
Yeah.
And I coached him and trained him and lost about 10 stone. So that was he could have lost a lot more, but obviously he had his own challenges, and then he'd fall off the wagon, eat more.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'll give you an example of this. So Sky thought they'd give him set meals.
Yeah.
But what they did was they sent him in one go set meals for the month.
Oh.
For the month. So I turned up on day one, I mean, literally 2 hours after they delivered. And as a treat, he had flapjacks. I turned up and I said, I'd like to try one of the flapjacks to see, you know, how tasty they are. Guess what? He'd eaten the month's supply.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
He'd eaten the month's supply.
Yeah.
And I was like, no flapjacks for me then. You know?
Yeah, you can't send someone who's got a food addiction a whole month's worth of food. That wasn't a smart choice.
I know. Should have sent him daily, not monthly. Yes. I know, hilarious. So, you know, this guy would like fall off the wagon. So we would have got more, you know, from him. Yeah. But so my speciality was obesity. Well, still is obesity. I still train people who are obese, but also overweight, and people that want to get into shape.
Yeah.
So all different kinds of mindsets. And what you find is when you set these physical goals for people and they achieve them, again, it's overcoming that belief that they thought, let me get rid of this, and that they thought that they couldn't achieve.
Yes.
And so that has a mental impact. They're actually life-changing. They feel better. They feel healthier. They have more energy. And one mental links especially is confidence. Mm. The confidence that they exude once they feel fitter, they feel stronger, they have more energy, and they're achieving. This isn't necessarily, you know, kind of getting down to a size 6 or a size 8 or being the slimmest, most athletic track, you know, athlete for a male or female. This is just about doing something and achieving something. Yeah. It's about doing more than you were doing before. Mm. And that state of mind of what you can achieve through health and fitness as well has a real strong, you know, correlation to somebody's positivity. Mm. So although I do a lot of face-to-face interactions with clients to, you know, overcome limiting beliefs and get themselves unstuck from the position they're currently in order to achieve success and their own expectations, you know, when I do something physical, you know, exercise with people as well. So it's either face-to-face where we do talk therapy, but I also do another form of treatment, which I call talk and train. Yeah. And so I have my talk therapy, which is solely come to my clinic, let's see face-to-face and let's go through some things and set a plan and take action. Or I do other clients, which is talk and train. Now, talk and train is where we go through exercises, which is bespoke to the individual. Yeah. Because if some people are obese, it's actually how they get moving. Mm. And if I get them moving physically, I get them moving mentally. Yeah. But the exercises, it could be, we could go for a walk. Because obviously, you know, out, fresh air, between trees. I mean, I've got the lovely Hyde Park on my doorstep. Yeah. So, you know, that's therapeutic. Yes. If it's just some exercises where we get more mobility, or we do some exercises where breathing becomes easier and we focus on the breathing side of things. Yeah. Again, that has a great mental link. So the talk and train is as we're training, we're talking. Yeah, nice. So we're going through limiting beliefs. We're going through what they can do and how they've achieved things. So that's a talk and train method I use when I involve, you know, physical fitness in with my treatment, in with my coaching, and in with my therapy. So I have two sides, two sort of options: the face-to-face kind of coaching and the talk and train coaching as well. Lovely. And they really go well. And again, and the same with the nutrition, because I'm a nutritionist also. Yeah. And
you forgot to mention that in your list.
Yeah. So I know. All right.
You've been studying for years.
like over 20 years I've been doing this. So, you know, and I do it myself as well. I have had some certain real challenges in my life, which I've had to use my own skills to help myself out with. But the nutrition one, what I do is I make it achievable, because we all know, you know, whether we're vegetarian, pescatarian, vegan, or if we eat meat, we kind of got an idea of the healthy things. So why aren't we doing it? Why aren't we doing it? And so I make it very real with people. I say, right, if you like biscuits, let's just choose a biscuit that's lower in fat. Or let's reduce the amount of biscuits you eat. I won't say stop. Because in the brain, as we have a reticular activation system, which focuses on what we're focusing on. So if we're focusing on not eating fast food, guess what we're actually focusing on?
The
fast food. So we see the golden arches when we drive somewhere. We see the pizza adverts on the TV. We get the flyer through the door, and we're bombarded by this mental awareness of what we shouldn't be having. And as humans, we don't really like to be told. We don't like to be disciplined. And then we get justification. Oh, well, you know, I've got to live my life. I mean, you know, I don't have many pleasures in life, so I should be able to have my, you know, my pizzas, and I should be able to have my burgers, and so it gets out of balance. And what I address it to is Pareto's principle, which is the 80-20 rule. So if 80% of the time we can eat relatively healthy, 20% of the time we can kind of have these treats or whatever we want. And if you break it down over a 7-day period, if you have 3 meals a day, that's 21 meals. So if you look at 20% of that, talking about 4.2, but let's break it down to 4 meals. So you can have 4 nice meals through the week. Now that's quite a reasonable, I keep getting these messages. That's quite a nice amount of time. It's reasonable.
Well, it makes you feel like you're not missing out if that's your addiction.
There you go.
Feels like you're not missing out.
Well, you've just hit the nail on the head with the word addiction. See, with drugs, you can quit. Smoking, you can quit. Food, you can't.
You can't.
It's everywhere, and you have to eat.
And you have to.
So can you imagine this addiction, which is, you know, when someone comes to me and they're overweight, I don't look at them and go, wow, they're overweight. I initially think, what's going on here? What's going on here? Because this is what's creating everything else. So what's going on here? And that's where the sort of the therapy, the coaching comes in. Because really that's what's needed. Need to get this in the right place, first of all, before everything else can get sorted out.
I so agree with you. I so agree with you. And the thing is, Jason, I see so many people, they're trying to do the mindset stuff, but they're dehydrated and they're exhausted from lack of sleep. You cannot get your mind to function properly if those two things, the food, the sleep, the dehydration, the exercise, you got to deal with the physical level, then the mental level you can deal with because you're rested. Can't do mind stuff when you're functioning, you know, like this, and you go, I'm so exhausted, I can't, every time I do a meditation, I fall asleep. Well, that tells you need to go to bed.
I know. I know. That's a nightmare. And then obviously, you know, when you sleep deprivation is huge.
It is.
So people can't get to sleep. But so then what happens is when they go to the bedroom, when they go to bed, they're now anchoring that negativity if they go to the bedroom and they can't sleep. Well, you really want to be able to go to the bedroom and think of that place as your place of sleep.
Exactly.
So you've got these constant catch-22s going on. You know, you need to get your head in the right place to obviously get the body in the right place, but you need the body to be looked after in order to, you know, so that you can function mentally as well. It really is this catch-22. So when clients come to me, may come to me obviously to lose weight and get into shape, but I also, you know, address this as well at the same time. And once they've got their head in the right place where, okay, what foods can they eat? How can they have a healthy lifestyle without all these limitations? Because people, what they do is they start, right, I'm going to make a great start. I'm not going to eat this. I'm not going to drink this. I'm not going to do that. A day feels like a year. You know, a
Yeah.
day feels like, oh my Lord, I haven't had, you know, I just haven't had a
Mm.
coffee, or, you know, I've really, and then they get cravings.
Yeah.
And then what happens is they yo-yo diet. So they
Yeah.
go really strict, and then afterwards they go, I can't, it's not sustainable.
No.
And then the floodgates open.
Yeah.
And that's why you find people putting on more weight than
Yes.
when they started.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes
But
sense.
yeah, but if I come back to, and then the psychotherapy part, so the psychological part, helping people to find an awareness,
Mm-hmm.
whereas the psychotherapy part actually is a communication of conversation and realization of what's actually going on with a belief, and helping to find some solutions. There's
Yeah.
some challenges, there's solutions, there's communication. And so that's what you also, you know, get from that. And my experience with psychotherapy was, you know, I kind of was in a group therapy application of people's mindsets and how they thought and how they had different beliefs, etc. So that was really, really interesting. But then if we come to the last one, which is coaching,
Yeah.
and coaching is obviously, where it comes to beliefs, it's very straightforward. It's pretty much like, where are we at? What do you want to achieve?
Yeah.
And how are you going to achieve it?
Yeah.
And then there's accountability. So
Yeah.
you catch up on the next session and go, right, this was where we were before.
Yeah.
This is what you want to achieve. This is how you said you would achieve it. And have you done so? So that's kind of it's a very straightforward challenge. And so I kind of put my hats on, all my different psychological hats and everything else. And, you know, by the end of it, then, you know, sometimes, you know, I've got one client I spoke to the other day, and she said, you just know which kind of hat to put on. You just know, you pick up on what I need that day, whether I need some psychology or whether I need some NLP or I need some coaching or
That's
whatever.
great.
And
Yeah.
I just feel that I can take from any one of these disciplines, synergize them, separate them, you know, dissect them.
Yeah.
And it really, you know, helps people, especially with today's topic, which is, you know, where do beliefs come from? How are they
Yeah.
created?
Yeah.
What is a belief? What is a limited belief? And how we overcome those beliefs and how we can move forwards. And because we get neurons in our brain get hardwired.
Yeah.
So we have this cause and effect. We have this belief, and then we take action, you know, off that belief. And it's how do we scramble these hardwired messages? And through challenging people's words and from, you know, looking at these beliefs and examining them, we can really re-scramble and set off these hardwired cause and effect behaviors that we have through our thought, and put some new hardwired positive solutions, action taking pathways in place. Yeah.
Lovely. Do you think, when you're looking at whether it's weight, drug addiction, alcoholism, I would even say love addiction, because I see a lot of that.
Yeah.
Do you think the basis of all those things is a lack of self-worth and self-love within?
Well, there's different studies, especially when you come to drugs.
Yeah.
So if you think of drugs, it is the nature-nurture debate. So within psychology, there is this big nature-nurture debate. Do we do things because it's innate?
Yeah.
Or do we do things because of external stimulus? So when it comes to some sort of addiction, what they found is that with some people, it is innate. This tendency to be addicted to something is innate. So I'll give you an example of a case study. And they like to do case studies with, let's say they were adopted children.
Yeah.
Okay, so these children were adopted, and they were adopted into a family where, you know, the parents were educated, the house was nice, the environment was nice, they went to good schools, they had, you know, loving adopted parents, and everything was, you know, nice, set up ideally for a children's upbringing.
Yep.
And then the child got into drug addiction. And they thought, well, hang on a second, the environment is not a drug environment. There's not. The schools were nice. Yeah, okay, well, some nice schools can have drugs as well. Of course they can. Yeah. But these cases, they did the studies and they really searched the environments to find out, no, everything's fine. So where did that drug addiction come from? The child became drug addict. So where did that come from? And what they did is they went to the biological parents and found out it was the parents that had a drug addiction. Now, it could be correlation, causation, whatever the case is. But these studies were done with lots of children who were adopted.
Yeah.
And they went back through, and generally, as a high percentage, a significant percentage of the parents were, so it could be DNA. So that's innate. However, some people may have, tendencies not innate. So how does that happen? And again, it can come down to environment. So they did some studies whereby the individual met somebody who was taking drugs.
Yeah.
In order for them, they fell in love with that person. And in order not to make that person feel bad and to build more rapport, they started taking drugs as well. The next thing they've got is their family they're shocked by this person taking drugs. Their family member taking drugs. But now the love rapport is with their partner who's taking drugs. And their partners are not about to stop taking the drugs. So now they don't want to leave and go back to the family because of that relationship. Because that relationship is now forming their identity. And it's what they stand for. And it's them against the world. So, and obviously drugs are highly addictive. So once they're into that world and there's repetition of the drug taking, then they're in it. So that's kind of an insight from the studies that I've read regarding kind of addiction as well. Okay. And then solutions could be, don't go into environments where there's drugs. Don't tempt yourself by going into those environments. So that's how they've helped people through therapy of going, right, don't hang around with the people you used to hang around with. Don't go into the environments as well. So that's one side of things.
But do you think that the people that I find it interesting to look at people that get attracted to things that are more addictive, because I think when you're in a state of having good self-love, you're quite repelled by those things. You're not attracted to them. So
that's right.
If you are attracted to those things, where's your self-love at in that attraction process?
Well, again, it comes down to what was your life's experiences in the past. What experiences have you had? Why do you think that you find yourself attracted? Because some people are actually chemically attracted to taking high risks. So some people are high risk takers. And I think the example they used was with Reese monkeys, believe it or not, where these little monkeys would jump from one tree to the other without fearless. I'd miss them and they drop to the floor and die or whatever the case is. And they found in some humans are high risk takers. And they're attracted more to taking high risk than other humans. And so, some people, again, it's an innate thing, whereas some people are more susceptible to taking risks than others. But then you come back to sort of self-love and self-worth. And what I say is, what do you accept? What don't you accept? What is acceptable to you? Have you made your own kind of rule book on you as a person, you as an individual? What will you accept from other people and what won't you accept? And I think sometimes if we don't really take time to work that out, we could just go with the flow, and then find yourself in a situation where, especially where abuse is concerned, because abuse starts off, it doesn't start immediately. It's drip fed. So the person might say something derogatory.
Yeah.
And you think, okay, well, that's odd. But okay, let's let it go. Next thing you know, these repetitive derogatory comments come in. This insidious, suggestive words of you're not good enough, or you can't do this, you can't do that. You know, who are you? You know, and it's a case of, and then you get the other bigger words, which is, crikey, it's good you're with me, because if you were without me, what would you do? Who would find you attractive? You know, and then it goes down this spiral, you know, and then the verbal abuse generally kicks into then the physical abuse. And you think, well, how did this happen?
Yeah.
It's because it's not instant.
No.
It's these small steps. So that's extreme case, but you can see where it kind of starts, where these small steps creep in. So it may be that the person hasn't jumped into, you know, this kind of relationship. They may not have just, you know, no one goes, oh, well, he seems like a really, really bad, horrible person, or, oh, I'll have a relationship with them. That seems like a good choice.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it is gradual.
That seems like that's a great choice. Yeah. Brilliant. That's a good one to jump into. No. But if you knew, it's like you said, if you've got that self-love, if you've got that self-worth, if you've got that self-esteem, that high self-esteem, and you've got those things which you say to yourself, those principles that you say, that's unacceptable. That's, you know, and then you can make a quick exit if you need to.
Yeah. Rather than saying, I saw the signs and I kept going.
Yeah, exactly.
which you hear a lot.
Yeah. And I you know, and I think I mentioned it before, The Gift of Fear by Gavin de Beck, who talks about that internal gut instinct that something's not right. And it's acting on that gut instinct. Yeah. But if you have got, you know, these kind of, nope, that's not acceptable for me, that's acceptable for me, this is, you know, and then you can stop at any point. Yeah. But like I said, you get into it, you give justification. Well, you know, it's a one-off. Oh, they're not normally like that. Oh, they're really lovely. You know, you don't see the good times when we have the good times, you know, and then and obviously as you more invest, you stop talking to your friends and family about it because, you know, you don't want them to think bad of the person. Yeah. Now your voice is muted. Yeah. Now you haven't got a voice. Yeah. And all of a sudden you're in a situation. Yeah. And it's how you deal with that situation. But now you fall in love. Now we have these emotions. And if you leave that person, you have loss. Yeah. You create a void. Yes. And sometimes it's not easy. Yeah. So then you try and make it work to justify the decisions you're now making. Yeah. And then you start lying to yourself, which is the worst thing you can do. Yeah. Because then you have no self-love. Yeah. So it is a case of, right, let's take it right back. Look for the signs, you know, but don't really, you know, like we said before with the dots to the dots to the dots. It's not a case of that. It's a case of, when I say look for the signs, I mean what you believe to be acceptable in a relationship and what's not acceptable in a relationship. Go back to the sock example we had, have that communication and say, look, that to me is really, I know it seems like one sock, but to me it's really disrespectful. And then it gives the other person the opportunity. Now they can go one of two ways. They can say, I'm really sorry. It certainly doesn't represent that for me. I love you, I respect you, and it's just dropped out the basket. But I can see how, you know, if you say that's that, then that's that. Or you can have the other type, which is, yeah, I think you should pick it up. There's a sign. That's a sign.
That's a sign. Yeah.
That's a sign to go, yeah. No, that's not, sorry. No, whoa, hang on, back up. Yeah. That's not acceptable. I'm not here to serve you. I'm here to be a team and work with you. I'm not here to do that. Yeah. And then you'll find out whether there's a disagreement or not. Exactly. And it's, you know, although we're using that example, I'm sure there's many other examples that people have experienced which is, they've realized, right, now I realize the red flags, because something small like that did happen. I didn't say anything, I let it go. And then things started to snowball.
Yeah. Nice. You got good contents in your head, Jason.
It's squeezing it, getting it right, helping people, overcome these things. And awareness. And I think because the fear factor is the unknown. It really is the unknown about ourselves, what we deserve, what we value, what we self-love, how our self-esteem and everything, what we will and what we won't accept. And it's also the communication with others, of the unknown of what are they thinking, why are they acting like that, why do they do what they do they really love us, are we being needy, are we being overprotective? But it's that communication. And generally, I mean, I've studied it, so I'm kind of fortunate that I know, that women love to communicate, don't necessarily want all the solutions, just want to communicate more than guys. Guys, we're fix-its. So it's like, problem, fix it, let's move on, don't want to talk about it anymore. But for me, so there is that kind of unknown, because the guy is going to be quite short sometimes in the response. Not all of us, but majority. Whereas I'm looking just for more communication. So it's an understanding of that communication, really, which helps, which really helps. Because otherwise, what you've got is, he thinks I'm going to pick that up. I'm not going to pick that up. but then it goes in, and the guy doesn't get told, and then the guy's wondering why he's in trouble for the rest of the evening. Totally vacant, so he's left a sock on the floor. One sock. Yeah. And the woman's, and I talk to your friends. Yeah, he knows. Yeah, he knows. No, he doesn't. He hasn't got a clue. He's left a sock on the floor. Not a clue. Whereas if you had the conversation,
it would have been finished 15 minutes later, and you could go and watch Netflix together. No, it does. Some stuff is explosive because of past stuff. Definitely, I agree with you. And you're dragging this stuff around. It's like a live wire. It's a live wire.
Well, the example, I don't know if we went through this on the last video, but when I said about, I used to have relationship coaching with partners, with male, female. And talking about, I'd give them this example at the start of the coaching. And the example I would give was that, so obviously I'd come and meet the couple, they'd sit in front of me, and I wanted to introduce communication between male and female. And so the story always went like this. I said, right, so let's say the female comes home, just happens to come home first. And then the partner comes in, the husband or the boyfriend comes in. And she says, hi, hun, how's it going? And he's like, yeah, great. Yeah, brilliant. Had a great day. She goes, well, oh my God, wouldn't believe what happened to me today. What the guy all of a sudden wants to fix it, wants to protect. What happened to you today? What happened? Oh, well, what? No. Oh, I didn't tell you. I saw Sue. Sue? Yes, Sue. Remember Sue? We used to go to school with Sue. She's got 5 children and she's got her own business. She's amazing. What am I doing with my life? I mean, this woman's incredible. How does she do it? She seems to juggle what is 24 hours into 48 hours. But then she's got time. They're on holiday all the time. I just, insane. What happened to you today? This is the guy. Well, no, I'm telling you about Sue. No, you come in and you said that something happened to you today. Like, what was it? Oh, well, what sort of day have you had today then? I was just talking to you, I'm talking to you about Sue, and you've got all upset and everything else like that. Oh, you've had one of those days, haven't you? You've had one of those days, you come home in a bad mood. No, I just want to know what happened to you today. You come in and you said something happened. What, go on. You know what? Forget it. let's forget it. I'm not going to speak to you when you're in that kind of mood. Don't think you can come home because you've had a bad day. I've not had a bad day. No, you've come home, you've had a bad day, you think you're going to take it out on me. It's not going to happen. Right, let's forget it.
Yeah.
I said, this is a solution. Your wife comes home, husband comes home. Hi, hun, how was your day? Oh, it was a great day, thanks. You would not believe what happened to me today. Well, what's happened? What happened? What happened? Well, I had a flat tire. A flat tire? Yeah, don't worry, though. I got the recovery people out. Like you said, they come out, they've sorted it, and it was great. Oh, thank God for that. Hey, I met Sue today. Remember Sue from school? She's got 5 kids. You're kidding me, 5 kids? Yeah, and she's got a thriving business. How does she do that? Yeah, and she's been on holiday. She goes on holiday all the time with her family. What are we doing? We need to sort our lives out. Totally different.
Yeah.
Because what happened was you gave the guy the solution to fix it, and then he could ease his mind.
Yeah.
Up until that point, it was like, fix it, fix it, fix it. What's going on? You're in danger. You're in danger. We've got to solve this problem. But no, it's been delayed. And all he can think of is what happened, what happened, what happened, what happened. You know? And that's communication, generalizing. It's quite funny.
You should go into acting. That was really funny.
You know, and the couple are going, you know, the couple are going, oh my Lord, that's really what happens. That we do that.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, because I think most couples do that. It's hilarious. Dear, oh dear.
Good example. But it is, we are, that whole Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus.
Yeah.
Was a good book.
It was a good book.
Good book.
The guy had a crazy voice, so I'm glad I read the book first.
Yeah.
Dr. Gray.
Yeah, Dr.
Really,
John Gray.
Yeah, really high-pitched voice. I don't know if I'd have listened to him. I'm glad I wasn't listening to audiobooks at that time, but the book was really good.
It was really good.
I remember reading it for the first time going, yeah, I got that wrong. Yeah, I got that wrong. Yeah, I got that wrong. Yeah, I do that. That's wrong. You know? Like, okay, I need to change this.
Yeah, he
as a guy,
fabulous understanding of both. Both sides of the coin. It was
really did. Yeah, with the well, going down to the well and going to the back of the cave.
The cave,
cave for guys, well for women, elastic band effect. I mean, it was all really good stuff.
It was.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord. God, an hour with you goes so fast. Honestly.
Brilliant. Well, it's always a pleasure.
That was really, really, really good. It's so, cool. I think it's good, you know, because you're coming from a different area. You're coming from all the things you mentioned, which is just such a great foundation, a great basis for a lot of this stuff. Coaching can only take you so far.
Yeah.
And this other knowledge is the bricks that build the rest of the house. So it's wonderful to hear how you've applied it and how you look at beliefs, and also how you look at where people are stuck and how you look at helping them change that. So
that's it. I mean, that's it. You know, it is helping people get unstuck. It's helping people go through transition and actually getting to a point of success, which is beyond their expectation. And that's what I really do, you know, with people through whether it's the talk therapy or whether it's the talk and train, it really is to help people, you know, with those sort of aspects of their life, to live the life that they want to live ultimately and overcome these challenges that we have.
Well, there's a lot of people that view this channel that are from London. Like UK,
oh, cool.
UK is the number 2 area that watches this channel. US first and UK second. So
well, my clinic's based here in Kensington in London. So
in Kensington, great. Perfect. Yeah. Soon to be in Harley Street. So, so I'm excited about that growth too. Fabulous. Well, we will be putting your details down below, Jason. And
excellent.
Also,
thank you.
Can you tell them a little bit about your YouTube channel? Because we were discussing the contents of the subjects that you cover.
So I've got YouTube and I've got Instagram as well. So Instagram gives 59 seconds, just mental mindset tips. So you can get daily updates on Instagram, which is Jason_Stennett. And then my YouTube channel as well, which is again the same name. And again, I elaborate, and then again, the videos are 3, 4, 5 minutes where I elaborate on topics, and again, all to do with mindset and taking action and what you can do, and understanding things like limiting beliefs.
Brilliant. Well, I'm going to put the live links to all the things that you do. We'll put the live links so people can just shoot there directly.
Yeah. They
And
can email me or call me, so that's fine.
Excellent. Beautiful. Well, thank you for giving your time.
Always a pleasure.
To us today.
Always
and
a
do you
pleasure.
want to say anything, parting words? Anything to say?
Yeah, well, totally. A belief is a belief which isn't necessarily true.
Yeah.
And we all have the solutions to our own problems.
Nice. Yeah.
And what I'd like to say is thanks everybody for watching, for listening, and I'd love to hear some questions. I'm open to answering questions, and obviously, you know, communicating with people if they have any issues, they want some advice or whatever the case.
Yeah.
You know, if we can briefly give it over, you know, over the channels, or if they want to come and see me or talk to me, then I'm happy to do that.
Yeah, fantastic. Fantastic. Well, Jason's details will all be down below.
Hey.
And thank you, Jason. Stay on the line and we'll say goodbye in private. Bye, everyone.
Yes. Okay, bye, everyone.
Thank you for joining us. Nut out the whole topic of beliefs today. Lots of love, and I'll see you in the next YouTube.